right, so welcome to episode 2 of the Inside Real Estate Podcast. Today, I have a realtor that I've known for quite a long time and consider him a friend at this point, Sean Maloney, Mr. Phoenixville. So,
Mr. Phoenixville. I like that. Yeah, Mr. Phoenixville.
All right, Sean. So tell us, spend a few minutes, just, tell us about yourself.
Well, back to what you mentioned, we've been friends, or we've been working together for 12 years since I first started.
We've known each other, I think, longer now. I still have my real estate license when we met.
You did my video or pictures and video for my first listing ever.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
And you were referred to me by I'm gonna draw a blank, but oh gosh, I forget her name. But anyway, she's like, oh yeah, you got to use Brian. So yeah, that's how it started. That's how we met.
Yeah,
that's how we met. So it's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a while. 10 years.
Still kicking.
10 years.
Yeah, did we meet? We probably met around like 08, 09, 10, something like that. I think we've known each other close to like 17 years.
Really? Wow. Okay.
But we probably, yeah.
Yeah. I was licensed in 2012. Yeah.
That's when you got your license?
Yeah. That's when I got my
so
license.
maybe that's when it was. I don't know. I thought it was closer to the beginning of.
Yeah. I was still kicking around in the other job that I completely hated.
What did you do?
Well, I was commercial construction. So I was a project manager and an estimator. Why
did you decide you hated that and to get into real estate?
It's just I had been doing it for a few years, and I just was getting tired of it. Just wasn't my cup of tea, and I found it kind of boring. You're working with the same people all the time. I mean, different people, but the same people.
Yeah, no, I know.
And it just gets exhausting after a while. So, so I took the real estate classes, locked myself in my house for a whole weekend, studied and took the test. And as soon as I got my license, I quit my job.
You passed the test the first time?
Passed the test the first time and quit my job within a week. And didn't even have like an idea what I was even going to do. Like I didn't know what brokerage I was going to go to or anything. But I just felt like, okay, I have my license now, and now I can quit my job. I gave myself.
Was it somebody that kind of planted the real estate seed in your head, or is it just something you kind of came across and were like, screw it, let's do that?
I moved into an apartment, and it was at the Lost Valley Forge. It's down.
I know that place.
The
they're
Lost
nice.
Valley. Yeah, they're nice. So the leasing manager there, or the property manager there, they had an office there. She was a broker. She was a real estate broker. She sent out an email to everyone and said, "Hey, if anyone wants to take real estate classes, I'm going to offer them right at the clubhouse, and you can just come." So, what a perfect! I just had to walk out of my apartment and go to the clubhouse. So, I've just felt like, well, that would be easy. I mean, that's what started. I mean, it was just felt like that was an easy thing to do.
It's just something that came across your plate.
Yeah, why not get educated? Why not study? And but I had every intention of taking the test. Yeah. So, or getting the license. Not just taking the classes. So, yeah. So that's how it started.
Star was born.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you kind of didn't have an idea like what brokerage or anything like that, like what you were going to do. For somebody who, may be in the same position at this point, what was your plan of attack when you were looking for brokerages?
Really, I really got my license to do property management. That's the direct. I mean, I guess I should have said didn't know where I was going to go, but I really wanted to do property management. So I think that's where I started there. Like what brokerages did property management or offered that. And, at first I was looking at like CBRE and some of these larger, commercial brokerages, but I needed experience. And number two, I needed designations, and you couldn't get the designations without the experience. It was completely upside, backwards. So there was a small company that did property management, and they were looking to hire people. So I put my resume in, and they hired me. But when I got there, I thought I was going to be managing properties, but that wasn't their model. That's not how their company was set up. So I started in their leasing division. So started in the leasing. So really, went right into sales. I didn't want to do sales, but sales meaning I was in the leasing division. I sold management contracts to clients, and I also, just regular, property sales. So
I think you're better at sales than you think you are.
yeah, that's what happened. They said, no, we're not going to have you managing any properties. We're going to have you, working. They wanted to put me in leasing first to train me, but I should probably back up. I mean, before I got my license, I was an investor. I owned investment properties. I already had that experience. I mean, I already had leasing experience because I was already leasing my own properties, already managing my own properties. So that's the part I like to do. I like to manage my own properties. So I thought, well, why don't I just do this for a living? So yeah, so that's kind of how the direction. That was my direction, I guess.
Awesome.
Yeah. And as you know, it doesn't always end up that way.
No,
right? It doesn't. Wherever you start, you probably don't. It's not where I actually ended up.
So since I've known you, you've done much more in the commercial end of things than I guess the residential, but you've done a good amount of residential. So how did it get from where you're talking about starting to where you're at now? Like, what was the sequence of events? Did you kind of just like, all right, I'm just going to start doing a little bit of everything, or did you fall into some of the residential stuff, or how did that go?
Well, when I worked for the management company, all our clients were mostly investors. So we managed a lot of most of the portfolio that we managed were investor owned. Also, you back up to 2012. It was a time where the market was not great, and a handful of our customers were owners who couldn't sell their properties were moving, or they just couldn't sell them. They just weren't going to take the loss, so they were moving for jobs or something. So we did have a lot of kind of just landlords by default. So, but most of our customers were investors. So I had to start I already spoke that language. That was already familiar to me. And I think that's why they kind of put me forward facing, hey, this is Sean, he speaks the language, but also the owner broker, he was an investor, I think at one time he owned 1,000 doors or something like that. So, I learned a lot from him as well. Just about how to do valuations, when you're analyzing a property. I mean, we had I still have it. I still have this spreadsheet where it's an investment model. It's a 10-year investment model. It's
from back then.
From back then, it's a very powerful Excel spreadsheet. I mean, it gives you a 10-year projection. It gives you pre-tax, cash flows. It's amazing. I don't even know who made it, but I mean, I've tweaked it a little bit, but to make it a little bit more my own. But a lot of my cutting my teeth or getting my experience started with that company. So I have to say I learned a lot from them. And then when unfortunately they were changing the model. They wanted the agents to become more employee and not.
Not independent contractor.
Not independent. And I just felt like I wasn't going to make the money that my income was going to suffer. So I decided to leave. I mean, that's.
Where was the next stop?
Next stop was just a regular residential brokerage, and wasn't really prepared for that because I wasn't really. Most of my leads came from. I didn't really have to farm for leads. Most of it came from the company.
Yeah.
Not that
that's a big change.
Not that they would give me anything, but it was mostly I was making the connections that way. So when I went to residential, I just felt like, or this residential brokerage, they just didn't have, that just wasn't their, they were just selling houses, listing and working with buyers. So at that time when I got there, I had never even entered a property in the MLS because my office did it. So
it's different. Yeah.
So completely different, like going from,
I'm surprised you didn't say to hell with this then. I hated doing that stuff.
Yeah. So I was totally, I wasn't even prepared. I was like, wow. I asked, I said, who enters our listings in the MLS? And they said, well, you do. And I'm like, I do. And I didn't even know how to do it. So, and no one was there really teaching me either. That's the other funny part. It's like, you onboard agents and then it's, I was fine. I figured it out. It's not a big deal.
What was the learning curve like? So you walked into that. I don't think that's atypical. But what did you have to do? Was it just you had to decide like, okay, hey, I just have to learn this, and you just kind of went at it yourself? Did you have any help along the way? Or where did you look for help if you did have some?
Yeah, I didn't get a whole lot of help. They unfortunately, they just didn't really have any agent, that type of agent training. It's kind of hard. It's I found that like everywhere I've been, there's no exact blueprint. I always thought that was funny that if you really truly want your agents to succeed, why don't you just slide them into like these are the 10 things you have to do, I think
now companies are doing that more.
I would say that, if I would have found Remax ready back then, it probably would have been a lot better.
Would they have been ready back then?
I don't know. I don't know. But no, well, it's hindsight, but just in the 2 years that I've been at Remax ready, and I'm plugging my brokerage, but they do have the mentorship. They do have I don't want to say hand holding, but they will hold your hand. And
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Yeah. They help. I meet with my broker twice a month. We set up a meeting. We go in, we talk about everything that I'm doing. They make suggestions, not just from, they monitor my marketing. We talk about what I'm doing. We monitor the leads. It's a lot more structured now. I wish I would have had that structure back then. And I feel like that would have been something I could have had. But
so prior to where you're at now, you didn't have any of that?
None.
Okay. Zero. So how long have you been having that in your life?
It was more just me creating my own marketing ideas, just talking to other people or.
Yeah, I guess what I meant, where you're saying that like you're meeting with your broker, like you're kind of, you have that structure now. Mm-hmm. I guess. How long have you been with Remax?
So 2 years. That's been 2 years.
So it's about 2 years. And what kind of changes that or effect has that had on your business?
So first year, if I probably would have listened a little bit more to them and followed a little bit more of their direction, it would have been better. But I probably increased my business, or let's just say, your gross commissions probably by 50%. Mm-hmm. But in the second year, probably by 300 to 400%.
Wow!
So I'm 4 times what I was making when I first came there 2 years ago.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah.
I think that kind of segues nicely into another topic that I wanted to touch on with you is the importance of systems, right? So in the past, like I said, we've known each other for a long time. And I think it was in the last 2 years or so, you kind of just got this bug up your butt about hey, I need to, refine things that I'm doing. And I've seen you kind of go like this in the past couple of years. So what are you doing with systems right now? Or what have you been doing lately with systems? How have you found them to be helpful to your business? And what's your plan of attack adding systems right now?
First, just trying to track where my business is coming from. You
hear that?
Where is my business coming from? Because, at the end of the day, I think I said this last year to my broker. I said, I did okay. I did well, maybe should back up. We talked about this. I had this lofty goal. Like, first I set this bar so high, and I said, I want to do this. And if I don't hit this, I feel like a failure. But obviously the first year I didn't really get even close. But even after the first year, I'm still like, okay, where did all my business come from? And what I found is that, I really have to track where my leads are coming from, and how to, I guess, make the most of that, of that. So I guess to say, just putting it down on a spreadsheet, just actually writing it down, like, how many leads, created this much business, and, where did that come from? And it's going to be my sphere. I mean, that's really where it came from. And that to understand that, but get back to, I know you asked me about systems.
Yeah.
I'm
You can run with it. Tangents welcome.
I'm not great with systems. I'm really not.
But you've been implementing.
Yes, I have. Some. I mean, I have. I'm using KV Core. I know a lot of people use KV Core. I've been using that for prior to our brokerage. Now it
seems like a lot of the brokerages are switching from whatever system they had to KV Core in the last year or so.
That's great, and that helps them with follow up. So that's one system. Follow up, making that follow up easy. So whatever system you do, whatever system you use, it's a you have to drip on your leads. You really do. Or you just have to, and there's some of my clients in my sphere. I mean, I talk to them at least once a month, if not more, because we're usually engaged in, in some activity. Even if they're not going to buy even this year, we're still talking about like what we're going to do. I mean, these are investors. I should say these are investors, but. Sure. So, but one is KV Core, and the other is I just track them in a spreadsheet. Yeah. Just track them where it's coming from, how many leads are coming in, how many, or I guess pushing through to an actual buyer or seller. So, but and I review that now with, actually I have my brother-in-law is working with me now. I don't know if you want to call this part of a system, but my brother-in-law is helping me with my marketing, and then I just added my sister.
You sure about that one?
My sister is now helping me as well, and she's been doing a great job. And what she's doing for me is just basically setting my appointments. So this was in my calendar this morning. I don't know if you want to consider that a system, but actually putting all of your activities in a calendar. I mean, I live in my calendar now. I just got an iPhone. Okay, someone just said I just became an adult because now you have an iPhone. Uh-huh. So my iPhone is amazing. And
what color did you get?
It's I think it's blue. Yeah, it's blue. It's the only one they had, so that's the one I got. So
it actually.
Portrait mode.
Oh man, it makes you look real pretty.
I don't even know how to use it. Calendar. I put everything is in a calendar. Everything that I do. So I woke up this morning probably around 6, and there's already something in my calendar from 6 to 6:30. That's
fill in the white space.
Yeah, fill it all in. I mean,
you're always on your it's good to see. I mean, like when we're we usually have a few minutes to talk on the shoots, but you're always doing something. You're always
on my
phone.
Something,
and that's good.
Yeah, I've got to fit it in. Yeah, that last shoot we did, that I had to squeeze in a call with a client. I mean, I just had to squeeze it in. So
it sounded like it went well.
It did. It went well. Yeah. So she's a buyer, and we're gonna be working together. So
awesome. I want to go a little deeper on something that I think a lot of people, they hear it, they know what the general idea, but I think you're really good at cultivating yours. Talk about your sphere of influence. How does somebody go from, everybody has one, how do you identify it, and then how do you grow it? And can you be targeted in growing it where you want to do your business?
Yeah, that's a good point. Everyone has a sphere of influence. Even if you're just starting out, you have friends and family. That's your sphere, and I mean that's a really good one to tap into. I'll go to family. My sister's a nurse, and she is probably one of my best referral partners because I've helped a lot of the nurses that she works with. But you actually have to train your sphere too. So,
What do you mean by that? How do you do it?
I've trained. I said to my sister, I said, you have to listen for keywords. You have to listen for people talking about property because everybody does. Everybody's talking about something.
I always remember they tell you everybody loves to talk real estate.
Everyone loves to talk real estate. Everyone needs a place to live. So, and also, my sister's like doesn't want to be in everybody's face like, hey, my brother's a realtor. And I said, well, that's not the point.
Too bad.
But, I can also, help out with that where, and she's made suggestions to me. She's like, why don't you send in a cookie tray or a pretzel tray or, something with, so they know, you're not just looking for, well, obviously, you're not just looking for business, but you're also, you want to help them and feed them, so.
Sure.
But so
that's where you start with friends and family.
Yeah, friends and family. But for me, with the investors, even people that I don't know, you got to reach out to people. I mean, I've cold called a lot of people, a lot of owners. I cold call. That's one of the things I'm just not afraid of. I mean,
is there a way to really, at some level, in some part of the process, can you really be successful in real estate without getting on the phone?
No. I mean, I truly believe that, and just, to back up to when I first started, I think one of the reasons why a lot of people connected with me as far as our actual customers was because I answered my phone. That was the number one thing that everyone said. They're like, well, Sean always answers his phone. I do. I answer it in the bathroom.
The guy, do your best business on the throne, right?
It's funny because it's usually I'm at the urinal and I'm holding it with one, and I'm like, I hope my phone doesn't fall in the toilet, or fall in the urinal, but that has not happened yet. But
that's a story for another day.
Back to your question, yeah, you've got to be on the phone. You have to be on the phone with everyone. Funny that you mentioned that because, even agent to agent. I think it's important to be on the phone. I know we have text and email, and I don't think anyone reads their emails anymore, and that's okay. Text is another good way to get the person. But I mean, if you truly want an answer, or I don't think you can really, especially if you're first connecting with someone.
It helps develop the connection.
It does. I mean, I don't know if it's, maybe other people can do this too, but I can almost tell what type of person they are.
Yes.
As soon as just by the tone of their voice, just the first couple words, I know where the conversation's going to go.
It's the difference between I mean, when I hear somebody's, I always say you can see a picture of somebody and you can see words about that person, but until you hear their voice, see their face, see their mannerisms, all that kind of thing, it makes a huge difference. I guess you come off kind of trustworthy. And like you're a nice guy.
Yeah, and it just all depends. So just for example, I was listing a property, and there were some potential buyers that I didn't know, but I knew of them. I never met them before. But I told the owner that I would vet these buyers out first, even before we listed it or listed it on market. And I didn't know this person. I didn't really even know where to get a hold of them. So I took a chance and I called them at their place of business. And that person picked up the phone. This woman picked up the phone. Actually, I first reached out to her on Facebook. I sent her a message on Facebook, and no response. So I called her. I called her place of business, and she picked up the phone. And her first words were, wow, you're really trying to get a hold of me. And kind of not in a negative way, but sort of like, geez, give me a chance to call you. And I said, look, I need to vet you out as a buyer. And I said, and as soon as I said, it's either a yes or a no. I mean, these are my exact words. I'm like, are you are you interested in buying this property or are you not interested? And I said, and I'll never call you again. And she said, I am not, but my partner is. And I said, okay, great.
And that would have never happened if you didn't make that call.
Yeah, if I didn't make that call. And she put me in, she said, I've already given him your number. He's going to call you. And I said, well, give me his number now. So before I got off the phone, I got his number because that's, that's part of my job. It's not, part of my job is to find buyers. If I'm listing a property, I'm out there finding buyers, even if I don't have them in my sphere, or someone who, usually I pass it around to everyone before I go to market. But yeah, so back to your question, if you're not willing to get on the phone, then yeah, you're missing out on opportunity.
Is there any advice that you would or can give to somebody who is scared shitless of being on the phone, or it's such a pain point for them? Like, is there any words of wisdom you can give people to get better on the phone, if any?
I would say get someone else to do it. I mean, if they're really, I can understand. I mean, sometimes I get, I'm still have a little bit of stage fright, like, oh my gosh,
right.
Or.
But would you just say it's just something you just have to say, screw it and go for it? Or is there any kind of smooth, silky ways of handling it?
I think that, cold calling is tough. I mean,
but that's something you can't get good at without doing it. Like, it's just like what we've been saying to people, like with doing video for your marketing, like you're going to stink in the beginning. Yeah. It's reps, just like everything.
I think, well, I'm torn about that. It's a good question. I think that I don't know if you could get better at it, but I don't think you could ever, I've seen some of these people on they do, dialing for dollars, whatever. And they can, how
many dollars?
I mean, and they have like no fear, but it's so funny. I mean, I get those calls too. People are, hey, it's very salesy, and that's not how I am. So, I would say that if you're doing outbound calls, and I've had VAs do this for me before, make my
with
outbound,
success.
With some success, yes, okay. With some success.
Would you say it's worth it?
I would say it was definitely worth it when I was doing it. Okay. I've tried a lot of it, but I would say if you're not, you still have to get on the phone. I mean, they could
right.
break the ice, but after that, you still
I think there
have
needs to be a determination when it comes to that and being on the phone. Like, there are some people, I do kind of to a point agree that like you need to decide it's something that you have to do and that you're going to accomplish to do the phone thing. There's some people that are just not built for it, right? Just like, not everybody's meant to be on, a news anchor, right? They're not meant for that spotlight. I'm not saying that that's the spotlight, but I think you need to have that determination to just like pound through that wall. I mean, I think once you've had enough conversations, because you're going to have, with enough repetitions, you're going to get the door slammed in your face enough times. You're going to, each time you get a rebuttal or you get a different person, you're going to learn like, okay, next time I hear that, or next time that happens, I'm going to react this way. And then you kind of just work your way through it. Now I know how to handle those things.
And I would say if you look at some of the very successful agents who do a lot of transactions, and we'll just say, speaking residential wise, I would say that they spend at least 2 to 3 hours, maybe more, on the phone every day. They're calling leads. I mean, that's what they do. They just call. Yeah. So, all
right, one last thing on Sphere, and then we'll move on. So you said your Sphere starts with friends and family, right? So most people in the beginning, okay, I just got my real estate license. All those people are on my phone. Now I can start and start going through my phone A to Z, making those calls, telling people what's going on, and keeping in touch with those people. What do you do? Like, should those people be taking all of those contacts out of the phone and putting them in something like KB Core to kind of manage the communication sequence with these people? And then do you have a strategy as like, hey, I want to talk to X amount of people per day, per week, new connections, all those type of things?
Yeah. So I would say, yeah, take your contacts, put them on a spreadsheet, wherever you're going to put them. I mean, it could just be a call sheet, like a daily call sheet if you want to actually call people. But I think that,
Getting them out of the phone.
Getting them out of the phone.
Valuable.
Get them into a campaign. The first thing you could say is, "Hey, everybody, guess what? I just got my real estate license." I mean, this isn't groundbreaking information.
No, but a lot of people don't do it.
Yeah, get your contacts, get them in one place. It's funny in your emails. Just in your email, you have all these contacts in your email, and it could be anybody. It could be you could be emailing with your doctor. I mean, whatever. I mean, tell everyone that you're
Put them on the drip.
Yeah, put them on the trip. So, but yes, get everybody in one place so that they're being organized will not only help your business, but it'll help your mindset. If you're organized, you'll just feel better, and operate better. You just will. You'll be more efficient.
All right. So you made I'm sure if somebody said, I want to sell my family home or whatever, you're not going to turn that business down.
Absolutely
but
not.
You made it with conviction. But you have made the kind of a very concerted effort to just say, hey, I like it. I'm good at it. And you kind of going balls to the wall in the commercial end of things.
Well, not just commercial, but I'd say 2 years ago, I had a goal, a sales goal, and just looking at how the market is residential wise, low inventory, smaller, less transactions. I mean, there's less homes to sell if you really think about it that way. So I made a conscious effort to go up price point. So really what my mindset, what I was changing was I'm going up price point. So, and I had to, if I was going to hit my goal, I would have to do 150 transactions. Like probably not going to be able to scale that quickly. Sure. But what else could I do? So that's when I made a conscious effort to go up price point. And where are the higher price points? In my commercial sphere. That's where they were.
That's awesome. All right, so let's shift from that. So where do you work? Mainly, where's your spot?
Where's my spot? It's Phoenixville. It's Phoenixville. And I officially have taken over market share there.
Yep. So let's start off with why did you choose to concentrate your business in Phoenixville?
Well, when I left the property management brokerage, I went and worked for. Actually, there was my lender friend, Kevin Gaffney. He was working at Better Homes and Gardens in Phoenixville. Okay. And he said, "Hey, I know you're looking for a place to land." He's like, "I'm here. I'm in." He had an office there. He's like, "We're good friends." And he said, "Just come here. Land here and then figure it out." So I said, all right, I'll do that. So, cause we had been doing business together too, he was working with my buyers and so that's where I ended up landing. And I will say, every place that I've been and people make fun of me that I've bounced around quite a bit, but everywhere that I've been, I've learned, I've taken away something. There's been some takeaway. I'm glad I was there. And yeah, I did
Totally
learn.
agree with that.
Totally wasn't ready for, hey, this is going to sound funny, but how do I have to enter my own property in the MLS. So that was a rude awakening. So it was like relearning the business all over again. So, but on the residential, transaction is a transaction, but I was doing mainly residential there, yeah. But bringing with me my investor, background that I had learned. So, yeah. So that's how I got introduced to Phoenixville, started selling some properties there.
All of these things that you've been doing, these decisions you've been making, your experience over the years, everything led you to what's a pretty big deal. What was it like closing the record sale in Phoenixville?
Validation. Just validation, because I convinced.
Tell us about
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I remember sitting with the owner, and I was introduced to him through he had rentals, residential rentals, apartments that he wanted to get rented. He needed someone to help lease them, market and lease them. And I said, no problem. So the building was under construction, and I was leasing these units up while they were like, they had holes in the floors and the walls. So, I mean, I think he was impressed that I was able to get these leased very quickly, and I did. I had 9 units to lease, and I leased them within probably 60 days. I had them all ready to go. So that's how I was introduced. He was happy with the result. And it's so funny, you really have to talk to your customer to make them understand that, I was introduced to him as a leasing, to help him with leasing, but he didn't ever think of me as a listing agent. So he said something like, yeah, I'm thinking about selling the property. And I said, oh, I'm like, you are?
Hello.
I had no idea that he was even thinking about that. Because he had just finished the construction and the rehab. And I said, well, give me a chance here. I can do this. I probably have some buyers, blah, 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 whatever. So, I mean, not to get into the weeds, but I convinced him that I was the right person to help him sell this property. One, just because our personal connection, and he wasn't happy with the other brokers that he was actually interviewing. One, they didn't get back to him. They didn't even get back to him. So
going back to answering the phone, but he liked to meet face to face, and I was happy to meet him face to face because we met at his other restaurant. So I always probably got a free beer out of it. So so I was happy to meet him face to face. But that's how we started our relationship, through leasing, and then having this sale and just. But you kicked all that, that was one of the culminations of kicking your, shifting gears.
Shifting gears. Yeah. That's when I first started at Remax Ready. And, when I was, just before I was at the brokerage, I told myself, I got this big listing coming up, and, this is going to be the start, and really just having that listing with all that, kind of free marketing to me. I had a big sign out front and all the listing platforms. It's funny, it generated a ton of leads for me too. Yeah. I've closed other deals because of that listing. Yeah. So, but getting it sold, seller was happy with the price that we got, and it's a record. It's a record for a mixed use property in Phoenixville. So,
are you on track to top it or what?
I am.
Got anything in the works?
I do. I have. I've got 3 that are 2 are under contract. A third one will be under contract soon. So if this first quarter, I don't, but again, I've been working on these things for actually the one that we're about to sign the contract. I've been working on it for 5 months. So it's not like, it just hit me. Actually, I've been working on it for a year. It's been a year, but so I'll do, if everything closes, of course, this first quarter will trump my my whole year. I'll make more in the first quarter than I did all of last year.
Hope it happens, man.
But that's something. Again, I've been working on these things for building this and building it.
It's not an overnight thing.
It's not overnight. So.
But it's good to see. Yeah. I'm happy for you with all that stuff.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. So let's shift a little gear to giving back, right? What do you do anything, that doesn't make you money that helps other people?
Yeah. So I'm on a board of directors for a nonprofit in Phoenixville, Phoenixville Women's Outreach. We provide housing for women with that are experiencing housing insecurities.
Okay, what does that mean?
Basically, we give them a roof over their head, basically, and we also have some programs for them to help them get them back on their feet. We help them find jobs. We help them save. We help them we're more of a transitional housing, so we're not permanent. Actually, we do have a permanent facility as well. But I would say that most people are, we're known for our transitional. So someone who's maybe, just doesn't have a place to live. They're not, we're not a shelter, but we're helping them kind of get back on their feet. So I'm on that board. I was introduced to that organization as, a real estate expert in Phoenixville. The nonprofit was going to buy a second property, and they engaged me to help them, identify and buy a property. So,
can you tell us who they are in case somebody wants to? Is there like a way for people to get involved or help out?
Phoenixvillewomensoutreach.org. They have a website, and actually, you did the website. You made a beautiful website. I should probably give you a plug. Brian and the company produced this amazing website.
Little step up from what you were working with.
And we had a word. Nothing against our old site, but it's nothing like we have now. And it's easy to now. You can just easily go on that website and donate if you want to. So there's links for you to donate, and we'll throw
those links in the bottom. Very cool organization, good people doing good things. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Quickly, let's talk about. We don't have a whole lot of time left. In investing, right? So I know you help people invest. So if somebody, the one cool thing that I think, and I'm sure there are other people in the industry that have this in their pocket too, but you always have these like underground deals that aren't available, right? So it would be a huge advantage for somebody working with you. What's one thing you would say to somebody to make them realize that it's worth getting into investing?
Well, you can make money. It can be lucrative.
Drop the mic.
It can be lucrative. It has a lot of tax advantages. That's another thing. It all depends, I think, on the person, and that's. I really like to interview the person to see, what's the point of this? Like, why do you want to do this? And there's also reasons not to do it. So I don't want to.
Okay, so what you're saying is not for everybody, but if you do get into it, there's a lot of benefits.
I think so. Yeah. There's obvious benefits, one, really, I'm a big guy. I got to be honest. It's a great way to make money. And if you get the right property at the right time, and, you can really, create an income that can replace your everyday income. So,
and you can help people with this.
And I can help people with this. Yeah. Yeah. I have a client that I've been working with. If you want an example, we've been working together for 5 years, and now he's at the point where he really doesn't have to work at his day job anymore.
But he did when you started with him.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 things briefly that you would say that you would give people to do to get started in investing.
3 things to do.
Some could be something to read, an action they take, whatever it would be.
Obviously get pre-approved, so you're not talking about that. But I would find.
No, if they're not ready to pull the trigger yet, but are trying to get to that point, like what are 3 things? Like, do they need to educate themselves in some way? Do they need to speak to somebody? What do they need to do?
Yeah, speak to me.
That's it. Just
there's plenty of books that you can read, but I really don't think and I can help them with this. Like maybe introduce them to other landlords, other people that are actually in that business, that actually do it as a business. Like this is their full-time job, to get an idea of like, maybe I don't want to say
get around people with experience.
Get around people with experience. Join a an investment group. Even if it's a local a dig group or something like that, or just a meetup group. That would be the first one. Ask questions. Join a Facebook group.
Yeah.
That's easy. And typically there are a lot of people that will just, be open and honest and, answer your questions and not make you feel stupid, but
yeah, I've kind of noticed that people that are doing like, if you're not the only one, and there's plenty to go around if you know what you're doing, I guess, or there can be.
And I think even taking, if someone's offering, I mean, there's a lot of bad ones out there, but maybe someone's just running like a first-time investor course and you have to pay for it. I mean, it probably would be worth it. If it's a couple $100, just do it and just see what they have to say.
Should somebody get their real estate license to do this?
I would say they can, but I would not necessary. I mean, if they really want to, I don't think. I know. I think a lot of people think, well, I have my real estate license, and all of a sudden I'm just going to find the properties. Yep. That's not how it works. If I didn't have a real estate license, when I didn't have my license, the properties that I bought were all off market. So I was already doing that. I mean, I was already finding properties off market to buy for myself. And then typically I had an attorney. So, I mean, tools that you need, I would say, first, join a Facebook group. That's easy. I mean, just join a Facebook group, join a meetup group, talk to other like-minded investors or people that are doing the same thing you're doing, because everybody does a little bit differently. I wouldn't take anyone's advice as the law. I mean, you got to you got to figure some things out for yourself. So you're going to be prepared to make mistakes or think that you made mistakes, but it's just going to happen. Things are going to come up. But a lot of great books out there. But yeah, a lot of great books out there. I don't know which ones I could really off the top of my head, but I'm not a big reader, so I'm probably not the best person to. But they have they have books on tape though, right? Yeah, so I can do that. Video or audiobooks, I should say. Yeah.
Your daily driver is what? What do you drive?
BMW 5 Series.
How do you like it?
I like it. I love it.
It's a really cool color, actually.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. It's
basalt black.
But it kind of has like a chocolatey look in some lights.
Yeah.
It looks
changes color in the sunlight.
Yeah,
it's a nice car. Yeah.
But you also have another car.
I have a Porsche 911.
Okay. What year? What vintage?
82.
How long have you had that car?
I've had it 8 years.
Would you consider yourself an enthusiast?
Yes.
For Porsche or just cars in general?
I would say for Porsche, I love them. Yeah, I do. I actually told someone if I had the money and the space too, I would buy every one I could get my hands on. Because there's a couple that I passed on. It's funny. There was a car that was local and it was for sale, and I thought it was too expensive, but I didn't really have the money at the time. But it was a very unique car. It was actually a 924, which is a front-engined Porsche from the 80s, but it was a turbo model, and it had this very rare body kit on it, and I really, really wanted it, but I just couldn't. I didn't have the money. And then a very high-profile collector bought it out of California, and it's in his collection right now. And I could have had it. I could have bought it. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I would say Porsche. And I do want to get. I've been looking around. I think I've changed my mind. I changed my mind.
Come on.
I sent all those cars that GTS. That one's really nice, but. I decided that I probably can't. I could daily it. It could be a daily driver, but I just feel like I probably shouldn't.
People might think something.
Well, I mean, if I have to take a sign, some of my signs just won't fit in it, So, so I'm thinking maybe not the most practical car, but it's on my radar. It's on my radar. Yeah.
Should people in and around Phoenixville be looking forward to a Cars and Coffee group set up by the Sean Maloney group?
Yes. That's one of my projects.
Will that be coming this year in 2024?
That will be coming in 2024. Yeah. I've got the perfect spot for it. It would be really cool. I think that would be, I think that would be a lot of fun.
All right. And then finally, just to close it out, what goals do you have this year, and what would you say to somebody who maybe hasn't set up their goals so far this year?
So my goals are to just work on what, just keep working on what I started. Like I said, I have the bar set very high. My goal is to get, just get more marketing content out to the masses. That's a big, and I'm working on my own lead generation as well. So really focus on my marketing. I mean, this is part of it, doing these video casts, podcasts, putting out content on social media, getting, I've got a whole slew of marketing ideas that I've slowly been, completing. But the biggest, I think, is, well, I've already started, I'm just getting more organized, living in your calendar and actually looking at it. I heard someone say, it's not my words, someone else's. If you own your schedule won't own you. So if you put everything in your schedule, I mean, down to the time when you're eating, I'm going to eat at this time, I'm going to work out at this time. Because I hear a lot of people like, oh, I don't have enough time. Well, that's because you're not managing your time properly. I mean, it's a real thing. So goals are, get more business. I just need more business. I mean, I have a nice pipeline, but I want that pipeline to be just filled, overflowing to the point where, like I said, I mean, I've hired my sister to help me with that. And she's actually helped me follow up and schedule all those appointments. So it's been, so I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. I mean,
wrap it up.
I've got so many things going through my head, but yeah, I mean, making the time, doing things like this. But I think the biggest thing that I need to do is like, I need to be selling. I need to the main focus that I need to be to work on is selling. I need to be on the phone trying to find properties. I need to be on the phone trying to find buyers. I need to be selling. I need to focus, not sitting around, not worrying about I hate paperwork, whatever, but I don't need to be doing that. I can't be doing that this year. I think I've realized that, not going to hit a goal, not going to hit my goal if I'm not always selling.
I think that's about wrapping up episode 2. Thank you very much to...
I looked at the camera for the first time.
Thank you very much to Sean Maloney. I hope everybody was able to pull something out of this. Subscribe, leave us a comment, and get ready for episode 3 because we're going to try and release one of these a week. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brian.
Sean, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Got it.